What's going on, guys? Welcome to Victims and Villains. If you guys are new to our content, we create content like what you're watching right now simply to educate and engage individuals like yourselves on mental health awareness and suicide prevention through pop culture. My name's Captain Nostalgia, and I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this video. I am a podcaster, writer, and the director of our film festival entitled Horrific Hope. First film festival that's kind to be horror-centric and mental health focused. If you guys would like to submit your screenplays, short films, or feature films, links are in the description, along where you guys can also find links to our social media, how to support us financially, what we do as a non-profit, podcasts, more movie reviews like this, and most importantly, our mental health resource library. I'm just going to jump right into it. On this episode, we're going to be talking about Pearl, an extraordinary origin story. So Pearl is the prequel to Ti West's film X, which released in March of this year, and it tells the story of Mia Goth's older character from that film, Pearl, and kind of her origin story, as the title would suggest. I know a lot of people liked this movie, and I am in a vastly minority when I say the things that I'm going to address in this video. Let's get controversial. About the positives and just talk about how amazing and incredible this performance is that Mia Goth gives in this. There's a scene in the film's climax where she's giving this monologue, and honestly, I was just blown away. It's the best part in the entire movie, and it's so incredible to just kind of get to see her just have this moment. And not to say that she's not good outside of that moment, or that the rest of her performance in this movie isn't great. Contrary, the fact that this film closes with her and she doesn't say anything, she just looks at the screen and slowly kind of her facial expressions reflect her character journey throughout the film, and I thought that was such a beautiful way to end this movie. Her performance, really, it does anchor this movie. Her performance in this is exceptional, and not just that, but she's also a great screenwriter as well. I also have a problem with the way this movie flows, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I don't think this movie's all that good. I was largely bored with a lot of this movie because I was like, and then by the time that the film gets to its third act, it finally clicked with me why this felt so familiar. To quote the ever great Ice Nine Kills, you can't escape the shower scene. The movie reminded me almost of a gender-swapped Psycho. Some of the circumstances around Pearl and Norman Bates are vastly different, but the outcome is almost exactly the same. Isolation breeds madness, and that's what Pearl is. It's a character study of that coming to fruition. It's an interesting juxtaposition that when you look at Mia Goth's character, Maxine in X, she wants to be a star and does anything necessary to reach that stardom. And here in Pearl, you have Pearl wanting to be a great dancer and to make it into the pictures. And I just kind of thought that mirror image was so just incredible, and it made me really appreciate Maxine as a character in some of the scenes that she had with Pearl in X all the more, but it made me just kind of not really care about this character in Pearl. Being a slasher, it feels really weird to call it just that. I'm all for a good slow burn if there is content that is keeping me engaged, characters that I'm invested in, like you're playing with my emotions, but Pearl just doesn't do that. And even looking at some of the films from the 80s that just were being churned out during the slasher boom of direct-to-video and, all that markability and the slasher craze, you would sometimes not have any actual violence or any gags happen until the very last act. And those movies there are still some gems that are like that I'm completely fine with. And I guess I wanted more from Pearl as a horror movie. It's not scary at all. It's not terrifying. It's not interesting enough to even be that. All the gags and all the deaths that take place in this movie are just really boring. Slasher elements feel so basic, and they feel like they're included into this movie just because it has to have some continuity that is clicking to X. And on top of that, I'm 100% for art house. I love supporting smaller artists, but the issue that I have with this as an art house film is that it feels forced. It feels really just not natural. And I guess I'll close with a couple of things that I really admired about this. I really admired how this feels like a film out of time, and a film that truly feels timeless. Yates and Timothy Williams create a score for this movie that really does feel like something out of the early 20s and late 1910s. And that's something I really admired about this film. The set design of this movie looks incredible. I feel like the sound design is incredible. I feel like from a technical perspective, this movie soars. And when you throw in Mia Goth's performance in this movie really does shine. But there's not enough substance, I feel like, to it. And maybe I'm missing it. Maybe like this movie like just didn't click for me, and it will in subsequent viewings. But coming out of a first viewing, this movie just feels really lackluster, especially after how intense, disturbing, and just how X really got under your skin. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 2.5 out of 5. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this. This movie holds almost like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you guys have seen Pearl, comment below. Let me know what you guys think about it. What am I missing? Try to explain it to me. Try to convince me. And maybe I'll go back and go back and rewatch it, and I'll make a reel, throw it up on our Instagrams. But let's talk about mental health real quick. If you're new to our content, Mental Health Moment is where we take a theme of mental health out of the film of which we're reviewing and talk about it for a few moments in hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health. The film's third act, where Mia Goth is giving this monologue about essentially why she does the things that she does in this movie. And there's a point to it where she just basically says that she just wanted to be loved, and it had been so long since she had been loved that she just wanted to know what it felt like. And when you see it in context with the larger things of what she's talking about and some of the other things that she goes on, it talks about throughout the movie, I think it's a stark reminder. We talk a lot about toxic relationships, and usually toxic relationships usually implies, community, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, significant other, husband, wife, etc. In Pearl's case, it actually ends up being the relationship that she has with her mother, and the fact that her husband is off to war. There'll be some heartbreaking sequences that take place dialogue-wise between Pearl and her mother on screen. You kind of get to understand the toxicity between the two. And that got me thinking, why not address toxic relationships and bloodlines? Family can have just as much impact on your mental health as the friends that we choose, the people we end up dating, and so on and so forth. And if we wouldn't allow partners, spouses, significant others, community, friends, co-workers, if we wouldn't allow them to be toxic to us, why do we sometimes tolerate toxicity in families? Sometimes it's about actually having the uncomfortable conversations about being open and being honest and saying, hey, like, you said this or you did this and this really hurt me. Probably one of the most heartbreaking sequences in this movie, Pearl has to have that conversation with her mother, and it's very heartbreaking to watch, and it's very, very hard, but for the end, there's breakthrough. I hope that's some sort of encouragement to you, that even if you have weird relationships with parents or siblings or aunts, uncles, grandparents, and they are toxic to you and they're hurting your mental health, have a conversation with them. Out of 10, they don't know that they're probably doing it. They're probably, in their mind, they're just doing the best that they know how to do. And sometimes, while yes, it does hurt, having conversations with them and allowing them to see your perspective really can make the difference. If that doesn't work, sometimes it's just better to cut them out of your life. Your mental health is not worth sacrificing for the sake of just having someone in your life because tradition tells you to. I hope that's an encouragement to you, and if you or someone you know is watching this right now and you're struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, click the links in the descriptions below and check out our mental health resource library. Make sure that you guys check out Pearl, now playing in theaters from A24. And as always, make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button and tell me while I'm wrong in the comments below talking about Pearl. Have a good night, guys.